Hey, Fae folk, welcome and welcome back. So, are y'all ready for the coldest take ever? Doll collecting has been really overwhelming lately. I know. I've said it before. Other content creators have said it before. Tons of you have said it before. But like it really genuinely has. Like over the past few months, doll collecting and specifically the new releases have just been so stressful, so overwhelming. And so because I'm a little bit of a nerd, I was like, how about we calculate just how overwhelming it has been? So I've compiled a list today and we're going to go over all of the doll releases for June and July, showing just how many dolls released in only 2 months and also how much those dolls cost. Just because I feel like, one, again, it's interesting to me because I'm a nerd, but I also think that it might be helpful to sort of validate the overwhelm that so many of us have been feeling to see in numbers. Oh God, yeah, this is how crazy it's been. So I do have some parameters for the list. I'm sorry. I know some of y'all find that really annoying when I like do disclaimers and parameters, but I feel like it's important for you to understand my thought process during like this and like understanding what I decided to include and not. So I will be as brief as I possibly can. Number one, we're not covering quite literally every doll brand. I feel like that would be impossible. I don't even know every doll brand. So there are some things, especially like within the adult collector realm, like Defalucy. I don't know if there's been any integrity releases. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it correctly, but like Codier, that's like a relatively new adult collector brand from my understanding. I don't know that much about them. I think they had some releases, but that stuff isn't being included. I'm really just looking at like the main doll brands that like I typically talk about, right? So we're covering Monster High, Barbie, Bratz, LOL, Rainbow High, and then we're also counting MirrorMi and the K-pop Demon Hunter dolls, just because those are both new and made like a huge splash in the online space. So I felt like it was only appropriate to also count those dolls. But even within that, we have some exclusions to make. Okay, first off is the LOL Tots. This is much more focused on fashion dolls, like, you know, the full fashion doll size, like where you can change the clothes and they might have articulation, that sort of thing. I just feel like the Tots occupy a different space. And so they didn't feel relevant for this video. For that same reason, we're not talking about Bratzies. And also, I just really don't want to talk about Bratzies. And then when it comes to Barbie, we did have like some awkward Barbie exclusions. The first of which is there's a large possibility that there have been some smaller Playline Barbie releases that I just missed. Like they just sort of randomly drop color reveal dolls, and I feel like I only ever half the time realize that those sorts of releases are even happening. So I may have missed some Barbie releases, but any, again, notable Barbie release, anything that I like saw was making a splash, or any collector Barbie releases, those got counted, except for the holiday Barbies. I didn't count the holiday Barbies just because there is like a wide array, right? I don't know exactly how many, but you have the Barbies and then also the Kens, but the Barbies come in a wide variety of skin tones and hair colors. Same thing with the Kens. And I know for sure not every single one has come out yet. Not every single one has listed yet, but I'm not sure how many have come into stock. So I just wrote those off entirely. Sort of similarly, I didn't include things like the Dracula or Ultimate Skulltimate playset because while there is a listing online for that playset that has been up like in the June-July window, to my understanding, it has never been active, and so therefore no one has actually purchased. So technically speaking, it doesn't feel like a release. So yeah, I just excluded stuff like that. Basically, the key takeaway here is that this is actually sort of like the lowest numbers that we could be looking at, and it actually was worse than this. And then I am going to be going through the prices all in US dollars just because that's the currency that I'm familiar with. And also, I might be like off by a dollar or two with some of these. I know, for example, we're going to talk about some of the Buried Secret stalls. And ages ago in a video, I had like said that I think the Buried Secret stalls are about $18. And I think someone had said that they saw them for 15. I'm just going by what I was able to see from online listings currently. So I could be a little bit off with this, but it's not going to be like, oh, I'm calling a doll that was $30, $60. It's not going to be that far off. It just might be a couple of dollars here and there. And in general, I may have made some mistakes. Sorry, I'm a human being. But with all of that out of the way, let's go ahead and start looking at just a laundry list of dolls that have come out. So, starting off with Monster High, I did go ahead and separate out G3 versus G1. I wanted to sort all of these like by type, just in case someone is like only a G3 collector or only a Bratz collector, so that we could also have little mini totals for each section. So when it comes to G3, we had the G3 Core Skeleta finally have her official launch in the US, retailing for $27. Moonspell Magic released, it was $5. So we, of course, had Claire, Willow, Karina, Layla, and Ray. Each of them did retail for $27, so it is $135 if you got all of them. The Potion Reveal Draculaura came out for $78, and then we did get Buried Secrets Wave 5, which I referenced before. We had 4 dolls in the line: Twyla, Draculaura, Spectra, and Cleo. $18 each, or $72 for all of them, bringing us to a total of $312 worth of dolls coming out when it comes to Monster High G3. I should have also said none of this is including shipping and taxes, because that's different for everybody. So you can add on just whatever amount necessary for shipping and taxes. When it comes to Monster High G1 style dolls, we had the Universal Collector dolls release at Walmart. I know these were supposed to release in August, but they did go up a little bit early and some people were able to grab them, so I'm counting them. 3 dolls, the Mummy, Frankenstein, and then Dracula, $44 each, or $132 for all of them. We had San Diego Comic-Con Laguna for $80, and then the Gozer's Collector was $70, bringing us to a total of $282 worth of G1 dolls. Moving on to Barbie, we had the 60th anniversary Francie reproduction for $60, the Angel Reese collab for $38, the Miley Cyrus collab for $56, the Barbie Fashion Model Collection number 5 for $100. I always mess up saying that, by the way, just a complete side note. BFMC, Barbie Fashion Model Collection. I can't get that out of my mouth. Fashion Frontier number 3 for $75, bringing us to a total of $329 of Barbies. Then Bratz, I'm going to tell y'all right off the bat, their numbers were the worst in terms of price, which I was sort of surprised by, and it just was disappointingly shocking to me. So we just had the Tyla collab doll for $75, the Core Reimagined 4 dolls, Sasha, Chloe, Jade, and Yasmin for $30 each, or $120 to buy all of them, the Dana Fashion Closet for $80, the Stylin' Birthday dolls, once again the Core 4, Chloe, Jade, Sasha, Yasmin, $37 each, or $148 for all of them. And finally, we had the Rodarte collab dolls. There were only 2 of these. We had Chloe and Sasha. They were $75 each, or $150 for both, bringing Bratz to a whopping total, again, before any shipping or taxes are included, $573. That's crazy. LOL OMG was definitely less overwhelming. The Jenny collab doll came out for $27. Rosalia collab doll came out for $27. And then we had the Sanrio collab dolls, and there were 4 of those. So we had Hello Kitty, Cinnamoroll, My Melody, and Kuromi. Each of those was also $27, or $108 for all 4, bringing the total to $162. Then with MirrorMi, even though the availability is still very, very spotty, I did count all 6 dolls because they have all been available at some point. Especially Suki, I think has maybe had the least wide release so far, at least as far as I've seen, the Walmart exclusive, but there was a brief window where she was available to order in July. So like I said, they all count. So in addition to Suki, we have Shy, Blaze, Akiko, Luna, and Amora. $30 each for those, which means $180 total. Rainbow High, I was honestly sort of shocked that they had so many dolls come out in June and July, just because in my head they're sort of a dying brand, but they had a lot come out. So starting off, we had the Amaya Hair Studio for $45. The Pretty in Paris lineup was 4 dolls consisting of Kaya, Bella, Violet, and then Skylar, and those dolls did retail for $28 each, or $112 to get all of them. Similarly, another 4 doll line was the babysitting line. It is junior high, but I still feel like these count as fashion dolls. It's not the same as the Tots or the Bratzies where they're very separate. I don't know, this to me is still a fashion doll, even though they're a little bit younger in terms of the age demographic that they're representing. So we had Amaya, Iris, Stella, and Skylar, and each of those dolls retailed for $23 or $92 for all of them. And then finally we had My Fashion Style, the biggest line was 6 dolls. They did retail for $17 each, and we got Kaya, Jewel, Iris, Violet, and Skylar, and plus Stella. I counted her in the math, I just didn't say her name here. All of those together would be $102, bringing Rainbow High overall to a total of $351. And then lastly to cover, we have the K-pop Demon Hunters dolls. We have the core dolls, which was a set of 4, Rumi, Mira, and Zoe, of course, along with Jinu. Those are $27 each, or $108 for all of them. And then we also got golden singing dolls. Those were just the 3 girls, Rumi, Mira, and Zoe. $33 a piece, or $99 for all of them. And lastly, we had the collector Jinu doll, which was $80. So just the K-pop dolls comes up to a total of $287. Now, I want y'all to guess in the comments real quick. We're just going to take a moment before I give you the grand total of how much this cost. How much do you think all this was? And also, how many dolls do you think this was? Because the numbers, I don't know, they shocked me. Do we have our guesses in? Are we prepared? Okay, because I'm going to give you answers in 3, 2, 1. This is 68 dolls. And again, I know I keep saying this, but I feel like it's very important to reiterate. None of this accounts for shipping and taxes. Even with those 2 things out of the way, if you wanted to buy every single one of these dolls that we just talked about, you would be spending $2,476 US dollars, which is just unreal to me. And I do feel like we really need to acknowledge that anyone who isn't in the US is paying so much more. The amount more varies, but I know like any collectors in any other country, I don't think I've ever seen someone who is not in the US be like, oh yeah, this Mattel Creations doll was actually cheaper for me. So this is like the lowest number we could be discussing, almost $2,500 in dolls over 2 months. And even beyond that, like I already think that that is too much, too many releases all at once, almost $70, almost $2,500. Like that's already too much. But especially when you put it in the context that we are living in currently, where everything is so unbelievably expensive. Almost no one's wages are growing up in a proportional way to how much the cost of living is just skyrocketing. So it's not even as though we're in this like beautiful economic boom where everyone just has tons of money and as long as you work a minimum wage job, you can buy a house. Like we're not in that situation. Even then, I think, like $2,500 over 2 months is like a lot for these dolls. But when you put it in the context of people are struggling to feed themselves, which by the way, I keep forgetting to promote this, just I'm forgetful. But in the description box of all of my videos, you will find a website called findhelp.org. I'm not affiliated with them in any way, but for anyone based in the US, it's a great resource where you can go in, type in your zip code, and you can access help in like food, health, work, like just so many different areas. So if you need any assistance, please feel free to go ahead and utilize that resource. But to get back to the dolls of it all, when you put this number of dolls and this amount of money into that context of people are actively struggling, and that's not even to mention like all of the other ways that things are terrible right now, like that's purely economic, it's just so much worse. And I do fully understand that a lot of these are playline dolls. They're going to go on sale at some point, right? Like you don't have to pay full price for them. And frankly, you don't have to buy the dolls at all. I get it. Frankly, I think it's not a good faith argument to come into the comments and be like, well, you don't have to buy the dolls. Like, I know that. However, we're doll collectors and we like to have fun. And I don't think it's unreasonable to think that doll releases should come out in a way where collectors can enjoy it instead of feeling overwhelmed. And that's also just talking about collectors. I don't feel like parents should have to go like through this and being like, oh, my kid wants suddenly this, 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 and this. We've been going down the toy aisle for months and it's been nothing. And now suddenly my kid is pointing at 7 different boxes and like, you want to make your kid happy. Like, I understand kids don't have to have every single doll. That's not the point. The point is, there's a whole fucking calendar year that we can spread some of these releases out on. And there have been many months where we've only gotten 1 or 2 dolls. And I do understand there are things around the world that are going on that can influence timing of like when product comes in or when product can be produced. I get all that. What I am saying though is that Mattel is a multi-million dollar company, and if they have like a release that's delayed for whatever reason, they can just suck it up. Like, I just don't think that the responsibility of dealing with that should be pushed onto the consumer. And it's like, hey guys, guess what? Here you go. I don't know. I don't know if I'm being ridiculous to say that, but it's just aggravating to me. And I also want to acknowledge I do fully get that we're really talking about Mattel and MGA products here, right? I understand that it would be a really bad position for MGA, for example, if Mattel comes out with all this new stuff and so their aisle is just stocked of new things and then MGA's aisle is like all old stuff or it's just empty. I get why there needs to be some Mattel product and some MGA product that is like relatively fresh on the shelves at all times. But again, we have a full calendar year. Like, y'all are multi-million dollar companies. You can figure this out where it's not all condensed into these couple of months. I just think it's ridiculous. So that's the numbers of why we've all been so stressed lately. You are not crazy if you feel like you have just been overwhelmed. You're not crazy if you're like, why is it that every time I log on, there's somehow a new doll release? It's been a lot. I'm really hoping, honestly, that the next couple of months slow down so that we can sort of like have a little time to breathe, maybe catch up with some of those Playline releases. But yeah, those are the numbers. This was definitely interesting for me to go through. I hope it was interesting for y'all as well. Let me know your thoughts and feelings in the comments down below, but that's going to be it for me for today. I hope you all have a lovely rest of your day or night or whatever it might be, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye, guys.